Excerpts from the KyoGyoShinSho. 4. A collection of passages revealing the true practice of the Pure Land Way. Passages 62 to 68. Compiled by Jodo Shinshu, disciple of Shakyamuni. 62. The essentials for attaining birth states. It is taught that among the various acts performed by the three levels of practicers presented in the two fascicle larger sutara, some are shallow and others are profound. But the act common to all is wholehearted exclusive utterance of the name of the Buddha of immeasurable life. 3rd. Among the 48 vows is one that, established especially for the gate of the Nambutsu, declares, if sentient beings say my name, even 10 times, and yet are not born, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. 4th. The Contemplation Sutra states, for those most heavily burdened with karmic evil, there is no other way. By simply saying the name of Amida, one attains birth in the land of bliss. 63. Further it states, we should refer to the Buddha's 6 kinds of virtue, presented in the Sutra of Contemplation on the Mind Ground. The Buddha is 1. The Supreme, Great Field of Virtues. 2. The Supreme, Great Benefactor. 3. The most honored, among sentient beings without legs, with 2 legs, or, with many legs. 4. The one as extremely rare to encounter, as the blossoming of the Udambara. 5. The only one appearing in all the great, triple thousand-fold worlds. 6. The one who has perfectly fulfilled all worldly and supermundane virtues. With these 6 kinds of virtue, Amida constantly benefits all sentient beings. 64. Concerning these 6 kinds of virtue, Master Genshin states, 1. Think on the Buddha's virtue. All who say Namu Butsu, even once, have already fulfilled the Buddha way. Hence, I take refuge in and worship the supreme, great field of virtues. 2. Think on the Buddha's virtue. The Buddha's regard for each sentient being, with eyes of compassion, is equal, as though each one was the Buddha's only child. Hence, I take refuge in, and worship, the unsurpassed Mother of great compassion. 3. Think on the Buddha's virtue. All the Mahasattvas of the 10 quarters, bow reverently to Amida, the honored one. Hence, I take refuge in, and worship the Supreme Honored One, among beings of 2 legs. 4. Think on the Buddha's virtue. Hearing the Buddha's name, even once, is rarer than encountering the Udambara in bloom. Hence, I take refuge in, and worship the one, exceedingly rare to encounter. 5. Think on the Buddha's virtue. 2 honored ones do not appear, at the same time, in the 100 kotas of worlds. Hence, I take refuge in, and worship the great Dharma King, rarely met with. 6. Think on the Buddha's virtue. The ocean of virtues of the Buddha Dharma is one, and the same throughout past, present, and future. Hence, I take refuge in, and worship the honored one, who is perfectly fulfilled the myriad virtues. 65. Further it states, when a robe is scented for a single day, with flowers of the Parijata tree, its fragrance cannot be equaled by the flowers of Kampaka, or Varskika, though it be scented by them for 1,000 years. 66. Further it states, it is like one measure of elixir, transforming 1,000 measures of copper into gold. In the Himalayas, there is a herb called forbearance. If a cow eats it, it will produce milk of the finest taste, manda. If the silk tree faces the constellation Kritika, it bears fruit. 67. Passages on the Nembutsu selected in the Primal Vow compiled by Genku states, Namu Amida Buddha, as the act that leads to birth in the Pure Land. The Nembutsu is taken to be fundamental. 68. Further it states, if you desire to free yourself, quickly, from birth and death, of the two excellent teachings, leave aside the path of sages, and choosing, enter the Pure Land way. If you desire to enter the Pure Land way, of the two methods of practice, right, and sundry, cast aside all sundry practices, and choosing, take the right practice. If you desire to perform the right practice, of the two kinds of acts, true and auxiliary, further put aside the auxiliary, and choosing, solely perform, the act of true settlement. The act of true settlement, is to say, the name of the Buddha. Saying the name unfailingly, brings about birth. For this is based on the Buddha's primal vow,